Greetings. I think I'm just going to read a little from Genesis. So incredibly important. It's amazing how we just can't see anything without the Father. It's just always amazing to me. We'll just make things up and do evil according to the dictate of the deceitful heart and what it wants, which is always evil of itself, can do nothing. Messiah himself can do nothing. And his truth is the Father's truth, and his works are the Father's works. So it needs to be for us. Genesis here. Now the serpent was more cunning than a beast. And right in the beginning, we have beast, and it's a riddle. It's a spiritual riddle. The Father has taught me it's a riddle. What is the number of his name? Whoever can calculate the number of his name, of the beast, who is it? It's a spiritual riddle that all of creation literally does not understand or know. Not having the Father. Same believers before believing, not having a clue, not caring at all. Reading, reading without his Spirit, without knowing him. The Scripture, it's just making things up. It doesn't know, it doesn't care, it doesn't see anything by itself. We need the Father's works. We need him for everything. We need Messiah in us for everything. Literally everything that's good. For evil, we don't need him for evil. All we do is not have him and do according to the dictate of the deceitful heart. That's all we need to do evil continually, is not have the Father, not have his Spirit, but be of, if not his Spirit, already another spirit, already true. There's nobody standing on the earth that doesn't have the Father's Spirit, but doesn't have any spirit. It has another spirit already, anti-Messiah spirit, devil spirit, another Messiah in spirit, another Yahushua. We read because of man's hatred for the Creator himself and the Creator's name and Messiah's name, who comes in the Father's name, means something. Coming in the name means something very connected to everything and with power. Not coming in self, whatever someone's name is. Not coming in. False prophets masquerade, as the apostle says, as coming in the Father's name. Whatever the works are, that's what it's masquerading. These are for false prophets. Obviously, if it's false prophet, a false believer, like we read, a false whatever, anything bad is coming, using scriptures, coming, making it look like they come in his name, but truly coming in its own name. And people flock after those that come in their own name because they're carnal still, and do that themselves, only themselves, their name, not submitting every thought. My goodness, submitting every single thought. This is going to take, this takes some serious learning from above and chastising to submit everything. Because learning what rebellion is takes to know from above, to learn, start seeing what it is. To try to create a picture, an image, is sin and rebellion. To try to do something to produce an effect. They want people to see image, like a projector projecting an image on the screen. That is rebellion and sin, and connected to rebellion and all sin. Wanting to produce things beforehand, premeditated, is not obeying the Father's voice. It's rebellion, wanting to do its own things and create its own. The image of the beast is more than just, it's connected to so many things, is what he's showing me. It's the image of the devil. Yes, in his image, the Father of this world. So when people say God, it's that don't know the Father, the Creator, Yahuwah. They are speaking of the devil, the only God that they know. If they don't have the Father, he's in the secrets. That's the path of least. That's already what will be. It's already what man is. It's already his heart's works, listening to the enemy. Right from the beginning, Adam and Eve deceived immediately when hearing the voice of the serpent. Immediately tricked. Eve is deceived, and then she gives Adam to sin. She wants him to sin. She wants him to sin. Yes, she wants to take down Adam, because that's what evil is, while masquerading as making evil look good, making it look good. Because if I go down misery company, but is the world understanding that phrase even remotely? No, it's not. It's not understanding spiritually what misery loves company means. Spiritual reality and spirit things, and his word is all spirit. And it's simple even using scripture to prove this, because Messiah said it's not about that the word doctrine means something is spirit. It's he says my word is spirit. Everything Messiah is spirit. The flesh profits nothing. The contrast with natural and spiritual spirit. And his word from the Father above. And Messiah's words are spirit. Therefore, all the prophets, all scripture came from the Father through the prophets. So then anything comes from the Father. Messiah's word is spirit, so all of the scripture is spirit. These are how these things we start learning are constantly true, always true. Genesis is happening over and over and over again. Learning more and more spiritual understanding popping out of the words that we start living, he gives. Not able to see what we don't see or know yet, so always seeing truth from above, from him. The serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made, and he said to the woman, kind of imaginary thing. Well, if you teach, why would that doctrine exist? To install a massive lie that there is no enemy. And the amount of spiritual damage and corruption, it's only corrupt because it's connected to everything else. It's connected to the Father's judgments through the enemy, through the power and lying wonders of Satan. It would start saying so many blasphemous things already instantly, that the Creator fights himself. The Creator is stronger than he who is in the world himself, and the Creator defeats he who's weaker than himself, which is himself. Rod swallows up the other rod, and it would imply already that he who is in and of the world is the Creator, so that there's actually evil, purely evil, and somehow also good, conquering himself, which is evil. That the Creator is good and evil, literally good and evil himself, set apart from creating evil, but that the Creator is evil. That's what happens instantly when someone doesn't believe that teaches that there is no enemy. They say the Creator tempts man to sin, to count the troops for David. And we read both the Creator moved him to, and then Satan moved. So what are they saying then with no enemy? Well, the Creator is also Satan, and actually literally evil, 50% evil. And he conquers himself, because he's literally 50-50. And he conquers his own self. He doesn't tempt anyone to sin, but he, the evil side of the Creator, tempts people to sin. And we could go on and on. It's the spiritual things. It's a massive doctrine, that through learning and growing, it's not just for doctrine's sake, like religion understands just carnal doctrines. It's what it implies and what the real spiritual meaning with the heart is. That gets inside people, and they become that. They will always be what the doctrine really spiritually, because that's the spiritual leaven doctrine. To take these words, also to take what it actually means that's hidden from people's sight by false prophets. It's incredibly deceptive. They will spiritually, with the heart, real things, be what that doctrine actually is in spirit. But they'll always speak on the surface of these words we say, what we believe. But then there's an actual secret meaning that the doctrine actually means. This is doing works in darkness. None of this even remotely makes any sense. There's no truth in his word unless we get truth from above. That what is it to work in the dark? What's the church world's understanding working in the dark? It has no answer. Those that are enemies of the Creator don't see good, don't see him, don't see truth. It has no answer because it requires to see his truth that the Father has taught about this, requires to see something good and true. They can't see how damnable and false prophets work the doctrine into to listen. It's like a lustful wanting to pump his doctrine in a moment, but then at the last second he had no intention, only wanted pleasure for himself through sin, putting it on, loving the neighbor as self. Yes, the woman in this example is still going to be accountable for works. It doesn't matter if it's like, oh, I consent. That's still wicked, because to do some kind of sin like this, as an example, is putting it on, allowing it, no problem. Let's screw around today, and at the last second, pull out, teaching something they don't want life. They only want to control people without the Father's life in us, without being conceived by the Father. The false prophet somewhere knows that he can control them, use them for their own pleasure. Spiritual fornication, spiritual orgies in the church world. They have no clue what's going on in this world and how wicked it is. And we need to constantly learn, and the more he teaches, the more insane it is, the crazier it is. His word is true. Every word is true, whether we understand something or not this minute. Genesis is true because they're words of spirit, and this is always true going in man's heart. The masquerade tries to cover it, pumping in false heaven and doctrine. That's all it is, for the purpose of controlling and not wanting life. And that not wanting life is then wanting death, because there's only two things. There's no I want life for real and I want death for real. No such thing exists. It doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist. It's either good or an evil. It's either a good or evil work. It's either a good or evil doctrine, not 50-50. The Creator is not 50-50. There is no darkness in the Creator. And his power overcomes Satan's power, given a lot of power, so that the Creator can show his power, that compared to his power, it's nothing. But without the Father in us, we're no match for the deceitful heart, for self and the enemy. We're no match to the temptations and lust. But he who's he's in us can start overcoming actual lusts in the heart. Adam does not overcome lust and adultery in his heart. No man has ever overcome actual adultery in the heart without the Father in them, without the Creator giving the power, understanding, and works. It's not possible, but this world is going to already speak as the opposite. It's going to speak as if some are good and better than others. It's always doing that. No one can have understanding without his Spirit, and so many scriptures to simply prove this. Confound the wise, so-called. The donkeys confound them. So many scriptures to prove this, but they don't see that or want to see it. And what someone doesn't want to see, the Father gives them in a delusion, okay? then I'll give you a delusion and choose your delusions if you don't want to see truth. We need to want the Creator's will and truth. Follow the Lamb for real in the heart and want that with the heart. This whole world not doing this because the world cannot know him. The world cannot see him, like we read. Messiah says. And, when I say world, it's already assuming and being true unbelief. The world always representing belief, actual unbelief. And the harlot is no different than the world. It's an unbelief. It creates its own religion and then says this is what it is to believe. It has nothing to do with doing the Father's will. It creates its own door. So when you walk in the doors, they get tricked into believing they opened the door. This replaces knock and it shall be opened. Yes, it does. In someone's heart, it's going on like that. It's already true. As we read, and he said, woman, has Elohim indeed said? They've said these words in the church world, speaking carnally, speaking self-righteousness and carnal things, natural only. To attack someone else's toy and carnal, natural things only, never speaking out of truth and understanding and real things. They become the truth, taking these words, and that mixes the pot so that this world can't see what truth is because everyone's doing, eating, and doing the same things. Always knowing the scripture that the devil masquerades to look like the light. He can never be that. But a pretty tricky, slimy, smooth snake makes itself look like outwardly with things and words, because words are natural, and then the word in us is spiritual. There's words saying literal words, and then there's words in spirit, in the mind and heart, which is a different thing. It's not literally the same thing as words, but the words and letters are a type of, it's the natural thing of the spiritual. So word in us means something. It doesn't mean reading letters and remembering letters, being able to recite, remembering words, physical words. So the enemy questions. This is all going on in the heart. I mean, this is the amazing things that he needs to show us. He's been showing me more on right from the beginning. It's there on what's happening with the heart. It's true right now, but the carnal man does not see truth because the only truth is spiritual things. Only to see his word being fulfilled is only in spiritual things. To not see anything, not know him, nothing is being fulfilled. All his word is worthless and is not true most of the time for most generations. It just means nothing. There's no confidence. There's no actual truth or confidence, because that can only come from above. That's it. It's not of self. It's coming in the Father's name, his confidence, his faith. We need his faith. Give us faith, because we're weak and don't have it ourselves. It's not of ourselves. Faith and the favor. Grace we must. Not of ourselves. What don't they believe in that in religion? It literally means no one can just say words and then they believe and have faith themselves. It doesn't come from within man's heart. It's a gift. And their definition of gift is perversion and a lie. Saying that it's been given to all people at the same time and always is every generation. He gave to all. If someone gives someone a gift, they have it. You cannot say someone actually gave a gift. This is how deceitful man is. All his works are like this, confusing and mixing and just being as God, making things up whenever it wants to, however it needs to, changes his doctrine, changes explaining the Trinity, because it's being confounded in this area. We'll explain the Trinity a little differently and change it. But when this goes away, back behind the pulpit, explain it this way, the way we did before. I mean, it's such a God in its mind. It's just doing whatever it wants with everything. But in a delusion, there is no free will like this. In a strong punishment. Therefore, if continually they didn't actually do what they want because the Creator gave them a delusion and they thought it was their own free will and good things to do. It doesn't exist. At the end of the day, when man has lived a delusion, and the delusions are given by the Creator for punishment so that they can believe a lie, what they thought was their own and their own things. And I'm wise. Not only is the opposite true, but things it's saying and thinking and believing didn't even come from themselves because they chose their abominations, the Father says. So I will choose their delusions. Now in the church world, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't actually mean that, simple words. But with carnal things, with a job, with money, I choose this. And if someone says those words in this world, it will always, he chose this. You know, not speaking of deception here. Either grabbed it or he didn't. In the world, it will mean if someone says, I chose this, assuming he did this thing, somebody, and it happened for real. He chose this. It's just as literal with the Creator. He literally chooses people's delusions. It's not even their own, but they think it is, and that's part of the punishment, so that they believe a lie and be judged, separated into darkness, because he's showing his power. He's showing all his truth, showing exactly the opposite of what man is believing in the heart. He's God, has free will, and it's the greatest gift of Satan in a delusion, not the Creator. So the enemy questions and says, has Elohim indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree? The woman said, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, you shall not eat, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, right from the beginning, the serpent was never good. The enemy was never good. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. All of a sudden, beginning does not mean beginning in religion. In anywhere else in this world, carnally, beginning means right at the beginning. It never means last or in the middle. Otherwise, you don't say beginning. That would be a lie. It means beginning. All of a sudden, there's no actual understanding or belief or spiritual understanding that the enemy was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Literally teaching the exact opposite, that he was an angel of light, literally from the beginning, which is scary because that's a perfectly backwards thing. And then the angel of light, pride, mankind speaking of himself, pouring out his own folly, trying to blame it all on Satan, and not be accountable for a single actual sin for self, fell, not us. Speaking about mankind, only mankind. He's a king in his mind and raises himself up to the heavens. That's how high the pride is. There's no actual reality to this. In his delusion with pride, he's up and walking on jaspers, and the Creator throws them down. Speaking of man, he's a king in his mind. Everyone a god and king in their mind, but there is a right way, an impossible way for man, because Messiah is King of Kings. Therefore, to be a king all by itself does not prove anything by itself. The world's way, evil, and then a good way. Because Messiah being given to be King of Kings, is that evil? The good way they cannot comprehend. They cannot comprehend how the Creator is the King of all, and then gave Messiah to be King of Kings under the Father, not above the Father, but right there, giving all things to him. They cannot comprehend that the Father is perfect and that there is a way to be a king. And I'm just saying that everything else is like this. The world doesn't comprehend the good thing, spiritual good, anything. It only does the evil way. That's all it comprehends, because the darkness comprehended not the light. These spiritual words, darkness is evil, and everything that's evil is sin. Sin, darkness, evil, literally doesn't know what good is and comprehend. All of us comprehend does not mean comprehend in religion. Beginning doesn't mean beginning. Satan, a liar and a murderer from the beginning, does not mean that. It means the opposite. He was a perfect angel of light from the beginning. It's pretty scary. It's like evidence that doctrines of demons, and that only comes from Satan, doctrines of demons. What God do they worship in the church world? Which God? And to have Satan as the father is all selfishness. So it's connected to worshiping self. And worshiping self as God, creating your own God, and then saying the golden calf is my God. That's literally just worshiping itself. That's the connection. I build a, what is this? Little wallet. Okay. Build the wallet. I built the wallet. And now I say, you are God, you are God. The person built it. They're just saying they're self. It's a delusion. They're God. So it's both true, the false gods, and the God of this world as the Father, but it's also true at the same time. To have the devil as the Father is to worship self as God, because that's the perfect opposite of selfless, of denial, of submitting every thought to the Creator and every work. Perfect opposite, and that's all that exists. It's either dark or light. Therefore, if someone doesn't have the Creator, is it perfectly evil and perfectly backwards? Self-righteousness. This is my God, golden calf. But man built it with his own hands, his own works, built his own God. They built their own religions and temples, building the shadows, proving they're not of the Creator when they do this. Just one thing to see spiritually proves everything, that it's an enemy. Because the Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands, made with man's own hands. He does not dwell in those temples. He's not in there. They can read it. It's quoted 2 or 3 times in the New Testament, said 2 or 3 times, I believe twice. I'm not sure, 2, 3, maybe more. And right in the beginning of Isaiah, it's a mockery that man in his heart actually believes he can build God a house, the Creator a house to dwell in. But we'll read scriptures that sound contradicting with letters. Solomon building something, see? But this understanding is what it represents, the Father dwelling in temples. And that's what it always meant. So it will sound contradicting when the Creator mocks that man can build a house for the Creator, a church building, a temple. The mockery is the actual spiritual belief in the heart that he actually dwells in temples and that man, the creation, can build a house. It's truly stupid. But the contradicting thing with letters is speaking of something else, of what it represents, and this is why it's good. Because the Father did dwell in temples made as a type, but he never dwelled in temples made with hands as a reality. That's never what it meant at any point. As a shadow and a copy and the type of the true, building a temple made with hands, and then dwelling his presence in the temple, only meaning the heavenly thing, shown in the natural, the copy, natural, the type of the true. But in spiritually, it's dividing between the spiritual and rightly dividing between natural and spiritual, and the times. And man is unable to do this of himself, literally to understand anything of his word. It needs to be given because it means something spiritual, all of it, to be kept in the heart for real, in reality. In Mickey Mouse Kingdom, there's no reality to anything because it requires to be given things of truth, reality, spiritual things from above. Every good gift requires to be given. If not given, they never speak of real things, only childish things on the surface. My bulldozer's better than your bulldozer, never seeking the Creator. When they have literal debates, they're just fighting between whose toy and religion is better and whose doctrines are better, carnally. Those doctrines don't even mean anything to them. They will support and say, we believe this. That's always true. but spiritually, not even what they say, they believe or understand. It's important. It's just my toy is better than yours. That's what's important. We say this, therefore we're true. You say that, therefore you're false. And that's it. That's as deep as it goes with carnality, childish. So the Creator mocks spirit that man can build. So why are they doing it for 1900 something years? Why are they doing the shadow, dark things when it never meant that? What good is that? It's proving something, because the Most High does not dwell in temples made with hands. To have that belief, we go to God, God's house. It is the rebellion and abomination. If a temple building exists, the fact that it exists already is proving that they're false and don't know him at all. Just the fact that a temple exists made with hands, all made with mankind's hands, proves that they're the enemy, synagogue of Satan. It's where Satan dwells. Because what it meant is always the Creator Spirit in his people, temples. It needs to be clean, set apart, or else destroyed. He destroys the temple and every stone comes crumbling down, seeing this spiritually always true. A spiritual destruction, stones crumbling, man destroyed without the Father. He destroys temples that do wickedness all day long. It's always been destroyed, but we're seeing the Most High does not dwell in temple hands. How on earth can they not see this, even on a natural level, earthly, carnal, not even seeing with letters, earthly, natural, that they break this, let alone spiritually what's being broken? What do you mean you need people to go to some religion and go there? Where do you tell them to go? It's never been about that. Go to the Creator. He's with us wherever we go. What on earth does a temple made with hands have to do with anything? All by itself, a building, wood, stone, doesn't prove anything. Someone could go in a building and the Father is with them. But going in some temple made with hands, believe that that's the important thing and God dwells there, this is rebellion. It's evil. Stunning. Stunning the blinding. It's stunning the power of the Father he's showing. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened. Something about that is true. This is how all deception works. A little bit of something that sounds true or good or right. It's not true. It's a lie. Your eyes will be open and you will be like Elohim. You will be like God. You'll be just like him with the knowledge and everything. They don't see what this is saying. Right in the beginning, the man of sin, the son of perdition in Daniel, it's been here all along. It's man being a god in his mind. That is the rebellion and sin and every sin connected to it. That is the blasphemy in the temple in someone. Blasphemous spiritual images that it's God. Because Satan said, and you will be like Elohim. We read God here. You will be like him. Like him, just like him. You'll be in his image in the day you eat of it. When you sin, you'll be like him. No, when you sin, you're exactly as their father, the devil. We were. Evil. Sin, saying that if you sin, you'll be like the Creator. Knowing good and evil, and you'll be like him. And something about being like him, knowing good and evil. The Creator knows good and evil. This is a lie. It's the exact opposite, not knowing good and evil at all, but only a little bit of something in there that's true, in that they realized they're naked, but their eyes weren't open. They were closed shut. Carnal man's blind. It's like the judgment began right there. And now mankind has to run and hide from the Creator because of this judgment. Torment for sin, spiritual, always been true. And the main thing is there was a way finally made when Messiah died and was resurrected. There was no way to die, to be able to live in spirit, to have eternal life within, know the Creator and have his life. No one had it in all of Jerusalem before, in all of the world. Because you have to die, go through the spinning sword in Genesis. His word is like a sword. It cuts up heart, flesh, discerning the thoughts and heart, the mind of the heart and thoughts of the heart. You have to be destroyed. You have to be reckoned as that. You have to start being destroyed by his sword to get to the tree of life. There was no way made available. He guarded his way because he does not evil and good. He guards his way, only his way, and only reckoned as dead for real and start dying. The old man needs to die in order to live, so that there's no mixing of good and evil and not allowing man to just mix good and evil forever. This is actually showing love and care and his character through the amazingly. It's to be perceived in spirit by the Father giving it, showing. But carnal religion will say similar words. They've said it, we've heard it, similar words, and no clue what they're talking about. So when someone hears the same words, they'll just see the same thing, nothing. Oh, it's just religion saying these words. It means something really important and powerful. They're speaking of not allowing evil from not understanding what evil is at all. Zero. Because Adam and Eve don't know good and evil. Doesn't know good, what it actually is, and evil, what it actually is. If they did, they wouldn't have sinned. They would have obeyed the Father's voice. But man is carnal. He doesn't know. He's weak. He's naked, miserable, wretched, poor, blind, naked. Adam is naked. Eve is naked. Nakedness represents the shame of sin. It's connected to sin. The shame of nakedness will be exposed before all nation. What people did, their sins, every thought in the heart, which is sin, every intention, which is the works. That's the only works. There's no other works. Works are the intentions of the heart and what the heart's doing and its thoughts and reasons for doing, what it actually does and what it believes. That's the works. There's no other works. Someone could hand a gift and they say that literal thing is a work. No, it's not. All by itself, it's nothing. It could be good or evil, depending what the real work of the heart was. In that way, only the heart's intentions is works, nothing else, because the lower thing, the natural thing, doing some physical thing, doesn't prove anything by itself. They're the real works. Connection is made between the heart and the natural works like that. It could have been good, it could have been evil. All the good do is to be seen by men. So all the things that they carnally did to look good, Pharisees' religion, makes them look good, worldly acts that people can see. All by itself, that means nothing. Depends what the heart did, what the heart's understanding and intentions are. Those are the only real works. That's it. The flesh profits nothing. It proves nothing by itself. It could be good in that it's connected to a good intention and understanding heart that did something, or it could be evil. So all the good works that, carnally, as a carnal man only understands natural things. Invisible things don't exist. The heart doesn't exist. The Father doesn't exist in the mind of the blind. They don't know him. They don't have him. All the good things they did, Messiah is saying. Things that look good, just acknowledging, okay, this looked good, okay. Good they do, only to be seen by men. That was evil, actually. Those works were all evil because of what the heart did that for. So that's why the flesh profits nothing and proves nothing by itself. Not murdering people, literally, all by itself does not prove anything. It doesn't prove someone's good, because someone can murder in the heart continually. But there is a connection, believers, though, in Messiah. There's a connection. always, but to the carnal man there is no action. He only sees the carnal thing. Now, not murdering is only good when we're understanding what it really means. And now we are guarding the heart, like guard his way, his word, guarding the tree of life, his way, watching out for flesh. And the sword guards. No one can get to life doing evil with the heart. The sword must destroy. We want life. It's an amazing picture that I'm seeing. He's showing me. It's never been done before. But that we need his favor because of this is an impossible thing. It's monstrously impossible to keep his laws and commandments of ourselves. Under his favor, sin is brought up when we make sin mistakes. It's exposed and then it needs to be cut off, and we keep going. Okay, I want the tree of life. I want life. Okay, but this needs to be cut off. And that's going to be painful. Word is destroying us for the good. His sword is destroying the carnal man. And this way, this destruction is good. But the devil actually wants destruction of life. What's good, he wants to destroy, and wants people to be in death. And the Father, the opposite. And to show who he is, there must be an enemy to show all the opposite thing, show what he is, to contrast it with. And before anyone knows the Father and has the Spirit, they know nothing. The dead know nothing. There's no further reward. And all good gifts and rewards come from above, treasures in heaven stored up, now and to come. There's no contrast. They cannot see what evil is without knowing something about the good on this thing or that thing. The good and evil, two different ways. That's it. Man only knows the evil ways with everything, with all his laws. It only does the heart. It's scary. It only eats unclean food continually with the heart. It only murders continually with the heart. It only robs and steals continually with the heart, not seeing the good way. It only is jealous and hatred with evil, carnal hatred and jealousy continually on the heart. It doesn't see good jealousy, doesn't see good hatred. Sound contradicting to the blind. Hating evil with a perfect, perceiving what this is, hating evil with a perfect hatred. It does not see and has not known the ways of peace, the way of peace. The only way to life, and we need the tree of life as the picture, as Adam needs to eat to live. Already teaching the spiritual death right in the beginning. Fell from the presence of the Creator, and now the carnal man works and sweats and doesn't receive wages. He's just dead. So blessings to a carnal man is just riches, worldly things. It has to be. It's all it understands, because dead, spiritual death, does the Father's presence, spirit, in carnal man. So he's blessed when he has a bunch of things carnally, and it's actually destroying him for wanting to seek those things. Carnal, worldly man can only do evil and love the world without the Father, because that's all there is. That's all a man is, or woman. Must love the world and all the things in it. Christianity must love the world and all the things in it. This means something. It's not speaking of, some stupid carnal attack that would come in. I could see that it would be done. Yes, it would be done. People would do it. I don't love everything. I don't love 747s like someone else does. It starts doing stupid things like that. That's not what it means. Loving the world and all the things in it. The heart is attached to the world, and the things that it, having different literal things it favors is the same spiritual sin as someone else that has some different carnal goods that it favors or whatever. It's the same heart sin, loving the world and the things in it. That's what it seeks after. Messiah said, the Gentiles, the sinners, seek after these things. You seek the kingdom of heaven. And these things that they seek after and love with their heart will be added to you. You'll have what you need. It'll be according to what he gives. You submit to the Creator and not creating your own definition of, well, I need to have this, and that's what God's will is. I need to have, like, gotta go. I have to have a lot more. And then answering itself, as a God in its mind, this is the Creator's will. I'll create my own. That's sin. That's rebellion. That's not literally submitting to the Creator and allowing his will to be done. He tells us what to do. He makes things happen. Everything. Torment. See, man, the world just doesn't see that everything religion is doing is so it perfectly breaks Father's voice and his will. I mean, perfectly creating some false way to replace and hide something simple. Obeys, do his will, want to do his will. And he'll give what someone has. We submit to him. He'll make sure for that person, you don't have too much or too little, wanting to have whatever the Creator says is good, not our definition of good. Not, okay, when I have $5 million, that's the Creator's will for not having good too. It's literally what man does with everything. That's not submitting to his will, that's rebellion. Creating our own definition, creating something to plan an effect. 1 week from now, I will do a 30-minute video every Monday. Is rebellion. Go watch it, everyone. Let's watch everybody in rebellion. It's unbelievable. Trying to make the contrast. How on earth do they know 7 days from now the Father's perfect will on what to do 7 days from now? They're God. They act as if, but they don't actually. So the Father so often allows it to happen so that they believe a lie and get trapped in their own ditch. I gotta accept something here. Do I? Is this in order? It's slow right now. Come on. My goodness, it's slow. Yes, I do got an order. Yeah. Whatever. How to do it. When did I get it? 3 minutes ago. Oh, they'll make it pretty quick, so I better probably. I guess I wanted to read more. So when the woman, or was I? Yeah, how does it know? Oh, that's abomination. Yes, of course it's abomination. When truth is given, all this world will do the same that don't know him. They'll get angry and attack these words, that planning things and doing that, giving examples of rebellion. If we say to do something with the heart for real, if it's the Father's will, once again, submitting to his will. And so the carnal man would just say, oh, I did that. I said these words, therefore I'm doing it. It did that so it could run from actually doing that. Hide that it's not doing that. We're talking about real things only, not childish things, lies and deception. 1 month from now, I'll do this. And, I'm using videos, I guess, as an example with YouTube, because we can see it, discern it, practice some discernment with the Father, with prayer and, truth needing to be seen and given from above. When anybody hears that doesn't know him, they'll rage inside and attack it and say, what are you talking about? That's not important. That's not God. They already know how to do evil. Satan will just tell them what to say. They already been doing it. Everyone has. We're needing to come out of this world, which is the exact opposite of doing our own will. The thing that mankind hates the most, because he's God in his own mind. The hatred in the heart towards the truth is proving that the heart has nothing to do with the Creator and does not want to follow his voice. Never did. All of a sudden, their sheepskin starts coming off pretty quick. And they start raging because that's what they were covering all along from. Actual sin and not wanting to do the Father's will ever in its heart. He's allowing the little God to be gods in a delusion so that people believe a lie, and slightly different from one or another, however he's judging. But, overall understanding this, that things happen because he gives it to happen so that it's punished and judged to believe a lie for rebelling, because rebellion needs punished because it's evil, prideful, sin. It's all sin is connected to not listening to his voice. How do they know a week from now what they're going to do and saying, I'm going to do this, and even down to the last minute, shoot for 30 minutes 1 week, 2 weeks from now, every Monday for the next year or two, we're going to do this. It literally has no thought towards the Creator at all, zero. It didn't even cross its heart or mind to submit that for real in the heart to the Creator. Trying to explain the heart when it's carnal, stony heart, the carnal man, that's actually what's going on in his heart. If he's exposed, he's going to try to say words now to cover this thing, and then attack the truth once again to cover. It can't be that I'm in sin. It can't be that I'm in sin. It will attack, destroy, change, add, steal, kill, destroy, take away his word, add his word. It's doing it in the heart spiritually, adding and taking away as it pleases, because it's God. As Satan said, you shall be as God, Elohim. That's what's in the heart of all mankind without the Father. It's already true. It's a massive deception and delusion. It's already true. It's already the enemy saying, you're God. You shall know good and evil. In the day you sin, you know good and evil. In the heart, it cannot be corrected because a fool cannot receive correction, like we read. In the heart, it doesn't ever change. It's a stony heart. In the heart, it doesn't ever change its ways and beliefs in the heart, but it can make it look like it changes things carnally on the outside with doctrine because it's separate from the heart. In the heart, it doesn't change ever. It's never wrong. Okay? It's never wrong in the heart. It cannot receive correction in the heart. So that's why instantly needing to change the words, attack someone and say, it's 5 minutes instead of 6, 7 minutes instead of 5. Hello? Because it's God. It's right. And because it's actually not the Creator, and in punishing delusion, it's forced to sin this kind of way constantly. It's needing to prove that it is God constantly, which is sinning with everything. It always needs to do the opposite of what it actually is. In destruction, now it needs to cover and masquerade and force itself to look like it's not in destruction, because it is. The Creator trapped the whole creation like this. Everyone has to do that continually. If it's prideful and a God in its own mind, what it believes in its heart, but there's no reality to it. And because of that not being the reality, because they're just puny man in destruction, it needs to constantly do works to support and prove that it's God in its heart. This is why someone says 45 instead of 48, 50 instead of 51. And this is done through all doctrine. It's done through all his word. It's done through commandments. It's done carnally in this world all the time, because it always needs to prove that it's God to confirm it is. But because it's always in punishment and never the Creator, but in delusion and punishment and judgment, it can't stop doing that evil, because that thing was sin and it didn't prove anything. It's only proving evil. Only proving the opposite of what the person thinks. So they need to do it again, because destruction, it's empty, it's void, it's darkness upon the face of the deep. It's hungry and thirsty spiritually, always like this. So it needs to fill by murdering people like a lion. It crouches and waits for the heart crouches and waits. Once we talk about the heart, don't even need to say mankind or this religion or this color or race or this blood, this denomination. Mankind, his heart lies in wait to murder someone because it needs to feed itself. And it's forced to sin to feed itself because it's not getting fed from the Creator above and filled up for real, hungry and thirsty for righteousness. So it's forced to do works, sin continually, to feed itself carnally like that. And then it goes hungry again. It was never a real filling up. This is the itch, scratching the itch, and it never goes away. It just comes back right away. Incurable itch. Someone gets an itch to do evil. That's their heart, the itch. And then working, doing it, and completing it is a scratch. They're tricked into thinking they scratch the itch and fix the problem. Literally, the heart's already this. It's scary. It already does this as Satan commands. And the flesh is one with the enemy. So the man is the devil. It already is in the heart that I need to go and murder that person. But giving like a more physical picture, because it's easy to see. Someone is itching to go and kill someone because of what they did. And they got a strong, I gotta do this. That's actually punishment for having an itch like that and wanting to complete it by killing the person. And the heart already being deceitful and wicked above all things. It is that already. It is that already. Yes, it is that already. Already believes and understands if I kill it, it'll solve the problem. And when they do, more destruction, more itches. And he gives to drink blood all of a sudden. When something is true, every other word will line up with it. He gives Egypt to drink blood. Why is that a punishment? What does that mean? And in Revelation we read, yes, strong are his judgments. Give them to drink blood. They deserve it for doing evil. They'll be driven, handed over to their lust and sin to do even more bloodshedding and murder in the heart and robbing and stealing, killing and destroying for doing evil. They become even worse, more itches to do more evil and complete more evil and get hardened and hardened. All of a sudden being hardened, like we read, is lining up with this thing because his word cannot be broken. One spiritual thing flowing with another. As soon as there's something we see that breaks something, it's a massive question mark because it's attacking all the branches on the good tree. It's attacking all the good doctrine that someone has learned from the Father. If someone can do this massive thing like this, how is it that they're seeing spiritual things or anything at all? How is it that they're a believer? And we see more evidence and proof and continually doing that, We discern and test the spirits. Test the flesh. Test what clothes someone's wearing. Oh, he's good. Yeah, that's literally what carnal heart does. It'll try to say words that make it sound like it's incredible and smart and knowledgeable and spiritual. Just like a little 5-year-old tries his best to make himself look like he's extraordinarily knowledgeable, but it's stupid in reality. It's utterly stupid. Everyone has to see this. They must have seen this with kids. It's all kids do. When they need to prove how good and knowledgeable they are, and then they do something to try to prove that they understand above and beyond whatever they're talking about, and in reality they have zero understanding what they're talking about, and they're just saying words to make themselves look good as God. It's already that. Flesh is already deceitful, heart is deceitful and wicked above all things, desperately wicked and wayward. Who can know it? No one. No one can know it until they see the mercy of the Father and his Spirit. The Father knows it, but this is a question showing how bad it is. Who can know it? It's so bad. It's incredible. It's incredible what mankind's doing, how accurate his word is for all things. Prophecy, spiritual prophecy, prophesying. That's what the apostle's talking about. He's not talking about tomorrow it's going to rain kind of prophecy, even though that would be, natural prophecy. that has no benefit concerning spiritual things, real things, heart things, truth from above, doing the Father's will, has no benefit by itself, means nothing by itself. Prophesy for edification. Is that the word? To feed someone, give them something valuable, not something that is zero, worth nothing, all by itself. That's what religion does all day long. Let's have a 3-hour debate and set our conditions. I'm God. It's so obvious that they're God behind the pulpits. They love it. Oh, and by the way, don't share your opinions with this video with any other video on YouTube. Why do they make commands like that? Because they don't want to see evidence of them being wrong. It does everything to only see evidence that it's right about something, because once again, a fool cannot be corrected in any way, shape, or form. If King James Version only is in someone's heart, it only needs to protect its delusion that it thinks it chose, that that's true. It cannot listen to anything that goes against it at all, because it cannot receive correction. That's what's in the heart. That's what it is. It doesn't change. This doctrine or that, and even carnally, it can't even carnally, a child saying my toy is better than yours. It cannot hear that. Nope, 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 blah, 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 blah. I've seen this done even literally. Seen it done literally, but it's always happening in the heart. Blah, 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 blah. That's why it does that, because it's in torment of hearing anything for being wrong, for sin, for exposing, for darkness, anything against its own self. It cannot bear or listen to. Literally cannot, because it's God in its own mind. When someone does those works, they believe they're God in their heart. Otherwise, they wouldn't do that continually. But then, because they're not, they have to sin and prove that they're God always. They have to actually sin to fulfill believing they're God in their own mind. Can never do good. It's pretty scary. Who can see? To him who has eyes to see and ears to hear. That's why we read that here and there. Messiah says that. We read in Revelation. Okay, are you with the Creator and Messiah? Whoever has ears to hear, because the rest won't hear his word, that don't seek to do his will. Satan says you will be like God, knowing good and evil. They believe this lie. Mankind believes this in their heart, not with letters and words, deception and masquerade, always willing to deceive and lie, because that's not evil to man. Doing whatever it needs to do to make itself look good and right. Infinity lies is no big deal. You will be like God. I mean, you will be as the Creator. You'll be just like him. But this is out of a deception, lie, and pride. This is the evil way. Instead of being in the Father's image, there is a true way without pride. So then the wicked that are God in their mind and religion in this world, that are in their Father's image, the devil, doing his works continually, when they see someone of Messiah in this world, anyone in Messiah with the Father's Spirit, to start seeing anything good, the Father's image through someone, the Father's image needing to become, that's prideful and wicked to them. What are you saying? You being like God? Are you like God? They only say that because they're in punishment and sin and tormented. They only can point a finger at themselves. They are like God in a delusion through pride in their mind. And when they do that, it covers. They think they can cover themselves. When someone does that, it makes them look like they're not this bad thing. But in reality, they are the bad thing they say. And only saying to destroy someone so that it can cover and raise itself up. If I say with a wicked heart towards someone of Messiah, to another believer, as an example here, and I say to an actual believer, what are you saying? You're like God? Well, you know everything, you're God. This false accusation towards his people. whatever it's sensed and discerned, like something good that it can't comprehend, it hates good. It's seeing the image of the Creator. This is not about being perfectly in the image. It's not the point. Constantly needing to be perfected, but nevertheless, His Spirit, to be in His image, the fruits of the Spirit, His image, who He is. And this is not pride. There's the good way, because the Father is not not prideful at all. It's torment to mankind. He puts what He is on God of the Bible. They're talking about Satan because they've been deceived. And everybody has at first. But they continually in religion deceive. They only speak about themselves and the devil when they put it on God, because they don't comprehend anything that's good. They see Messiah as the example. He's the image of the Father, express image. They will see that thing in the image of the Father as prideful, wicked, and saying, what are you, like God? Think you're like God or something? They attack good. They don't like seeing good. It's not that the man is good of himself, but nevertheless, the Father in someone. Father is good. They see good works. They see Father's image. They see good fruits of the Spirit works. They see humble. They will attack and call it all evil. Say, you're like God, aren't you? What are you saying? God. The Father blinds when they attack. All the world, every time they do this, every single time, they are exactly what they say themselves, perfectly, utterly perfectly, in the heart. It's God. And by doing that, it makes itself look like that it's not God. It makes itself look like it's humble by saying, what are you, God? To a believer. To good, something good they see that they're not comprehending. The darkness comprehends not the light. And this is done in trillions of different ways. This is what happens everywhere. It's happening every second. It's happened 10 trillion times right now. It's already happened 10 trillion times right this minute. Different things, different ways, different words, different subjects, don't matter. The sin is the same. Every time someone does that, it makes themselves look like they're not that because they point at someone else. Pretty scary when the reality is they are exactly that themselves and can't see it. And that they did that to kill, steal, and destroy someone to raise itself up because it's destroyed. It needs to destroy. My goodness, do we need the Creator so badly? Beg for His Spirit, for His works, to give us light and to see the things we need to see. Spiritually, with the heart, getting on its knees and begging the Creator. Sinner over here, I can do nothing of self. The heart getting on its knees and begging. Just to contrast it, like we desperately need the Creator and Messiah in us to do anything good or understand anything at all. Desperately need Him. And the world desperately does not need Him. So it thinks. It's desperately wicked continually. Oh, it's so blind and sick. Doesn't want to learn and get truth from the Father. Why? What's part of the connection? Well, pride and a God in its own mind and self-righteous. Always coming back to those three. If we need to get from the Father and we get from Him, that means it's not of self. That proves that someone's not God. Therefore, they can't do that. Because if it's a God in its own mind, as it believes, it could do anything and whatever it wants. But if the reality is we know nothing of ourselves and we need to get from the Father, He'll teach us along the way everything we need to know along the way in His time for everyone. It takes our understanding out of the way. It takes our pride and being a God in our own mind out of the way. It needs to be a deadly blow to the beast. But the religion heals the deadly wound of the beast. It destroys people by healing the beast. Yes, that's the wickedness. That's the deception of this world. So incredibly scary, deceived. Incredibly deceived. While it believes in pride that it's good, it's sick. It knows nothing while it's claiming to believe and know everything, good and evil. In the heart, it already knows. Yes, it does. I've seen the works too many times in Christianity. Not even, let alone the world, seen the works and will only continue to see those works in the blind, not seeking the Father's will and his way. It takes our own self and study and wisdom and might and strength and proving we're not God. But that cannot be so for someone's heart. It can't be that the truth, whatever truth is breaking, I'm God, I'm God. Whatever that is, that must not be true because I'm God. Bible is easy and for all to understand, but you have to have a good heart like me and read it 10 times. I'm better. I'm more noble. Noble Bereans. We read letters. We talk about only carnal things, never hearing anything spiritual. Might be that it's a carnal Jew and an enemy of the Creator that viciously hates Messiah's people. And it deletes truth, deleting while it's masquerading, intensely masquerading as a messenger of light. This is going on everywhere, too much. Mouths need to be stopped. Masquerading even better than the church world. Judas is looking called out, talking about commandments and things. Never seeing any heart works. Never seeing any spiritual things, understanding and works. What is it? It's an enemy, if that's the case. That's the discernment, and it's a righteous judgment from above. It's literally righteous because it doesn't murder and rape people or steal. It's literally righteous of itself, which is to be an enemy of the Creator, self-righteous. And worse than the world that doesn't claim anything for the scripture, believing it. Worse than them. The stronger the masquerade, the more sin someone's in. The more it needs to show how good it is in this world, showing off how good it is, the more sin it's in. It's a correlation there because of his judgments. No, I'm not righteous of myself and better than someone for not murdering physically, for keeping the Creator's days, for not eating unclean food, literally. These are natural things only. No, I'm not better than anyone. And that's literally what the carnal man out there is doing, masquerading as messengers of light. It's full of pride and self-righteousness, which is the rebellion. It believes in its mind, just as the church world, that it's getting understanding from itself. It studies, it reads. I must be good because I do this. And I do this to make myself good. Oh, I need to be good? Let me prove it real quick. I read the scriptures. I study. I'm a noble Berean now. This is scary, man. Scary. Let me quickly do this to prove I'm God and good and better than Christianity. The heart is evil. The heart's works are evil. It's not doctrine by itself only. Keeping natural things is not what the law meant anyways. No one can keep the heart things, the spiritual law, and what the laws mean spiritually, no one can keep. So when we see works that prove the person believes that they can keep the law of themselves, we see works that prove that they believe in their own heart, seeing the works that prove that they can keep the law themselves. That's the evidence someone's carnal, self-righteous, which is rebellion. When that's all we see, not seeing anything else. Because in a believer, yes, there will be falls. We're needing to learn and come out of this. We know this. We need to beware of that. It has nothing to do with not making mistakes and sin and things along the way. But this is all you see, is someone's heart actually believing that with their heart, and that's it. Why are people more noble than others? Because of what they did themselves. That is the definition of self-righteousness. All right, I gotta go. Adam. Yahuwah Elohim called to Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" It's for our admonition, showing something. But people have used this literally in their own division. That God doesn't know the future or some nonsense, because that's a God speaking. I'm God. The true God doesn't know anything. My golden calf has no power. Pretty scary that their works line up with the golden calf. Can't see, can't walk, can't hear. Don't fear those gods. They're virtually nothing. It's what we read over and over. Afraid. This is cowardly. I heard your voice in the garden and I was afraid. The Creator, good, light. I was afraid because I was naked. Sin, shame. I hid myself. This is mankind doing this with his heart. We can read about ourselves. Here's mankind, 7 billion people, something. So he said, I heard your voice in the garden, the Father's voice, and I was afraid, fearful, cowardly of the Creator and good things and everything good, because I was naked in deep sin for not obeying the voice of the Father. And I hid myself. Who told you were you naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded that you should not eat? Here's the blame. Then the man said, the woman whom you gave me to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I ate. That's why there's a blame in the heart. This is what carnal man does. He cannot literally in the heart accept anything at all that looks bad to him or any actual wrong or sin. He can say this now because in his heart, he blamed the woman. It ain't my fault. Yes, it is. Right here in Genesis, Yahuwah Elohim, our Father, said to the woman, what is this you have done? The woman said, the serpent deceived me and I ate. That's true. The serpent deceived, but seeing the carnal is to be given by the Father, what the carnal heart does. In the heart of Eve and Adam and Eve, it's blaming someone else. It can't take any sin responsibility. Zero actual things in the heart. Zero. And if someone wants to read the rest of Genesis 3, and if not, then they don't. Who cares? In religion, it's like they put this debt on you. This is what makes someone godly and better. According to the gifts the Father has given and ability. And if someone is seeing something they're lacking, like the want is lacking for this or that, this is okay. Acknowledging that is good. Then you ask for more. Want. That's how backwards we are. We're coming out of no want for anything good. You find out you don't want to do what's actually right or with this or that, a little revealing of something. So you pray for what lacks. And then we even read, not even knowing what we ought to pray for so often. Man, has that been true? Groanings, mutterings which cannot be uttered. Sighings inside, heavy, Don't worship the man. Don't worship the stupid man with the heart, believing he's good. No one is good, not even one, seeing that spiritually. Literally not seeing that someone is what they are by the favor of the Father. The Father is, I am what I am. And it's a great thing that he is what he is. It's amazing just to start seeing that. So then his people start becoming. What did they think? That we're not supposed to be made in his image? It's prideful to the wicked religion. We start becoming, growing, I am what I am. I just am what I am. What, you don't like it? You don't like it? It's what the Creator has done. Don't you like? I'm just saying that because of the attacks perceived on the other side that always will be there. That's to be in his image more and more. The Son's becoming like the Father. It doesn't mean they're God or the Creator. Only through denial of self can we start becoming like the Creator's image. Only through a literal heart humbling. And they call it pride. It's sick. So evil what they do, what mankind does. And it's nasty when we catch ourselves doing something we hate. It's going to happen. So they need to pray about it. To don't want to see this, you start overcoming this or that thing. for real. Adam never overcomes the seduction and power a woman has over him. Never, never, without the Creator. And it's actually, amazingly, he uses a woman for man's sin, for not being the spiritual head and for being a coward and weak and seductible, because that's going to get punished. He gives woman to man, to the sinner, and Ecclesiastes said it plainly. It's not the only place that teaches it, but here's where it says it plainly. Ecclesiastes somewhere. To the sinning man, to the sinner, he gives a woman to trap him by nets, fetters and nets. A woman is to put him in debt and slavery for his sin, for doing evil, for not caring. Welcome to Babylon, spiritual Babylon, where every man apart from the Creator is already under the woman and not the spiritual head. Is lusting with the heart constantly, because that literally requires power and understanding from above to start overcoming adultery in the heart. As Messiah said, someone does this in the heart, it's already sin. Contrasting the natural adultery. Something greater has come, And it's amazing when the Creator is actually changing and you see it, overcoming this lust and adultery and a spiritual spell. I remember having like a deep, heavy thing. Now I can contrast it when he's done mighty works, all to the Father's praise. To look back, not as if it's perfected right this minute, but, such a massive change over time, real. And look back on what it was, constantly under the spell of women, just walking around in a store, over here, over there. That's Adam right there. I'm Adam. I was Adam in this way. They know they have power over you, the woman, just like a snake knows that venom should destroy someone. They know something about it when they see that they can't seduce a man for real spiritual war. They rage. Multiple experiences directly with that one specific thing. They rage because it's proving that they're not God, that they can't seduce whoever they want, which is proving their image is false and it's not God. That's all it constantly needs to do daily, is prove that it's God, because it's not, but it believes it is, in punishing delusion. So when she can't seduce someone, she's seeking evil, ready to do evil works, murderous things and thoughts and sets and traps. Oh, you started a fire in the plant and burned a machine down. Why? Because the woman wasn't seduced. Because simply, shortly, to sum it up, the answer is no. That's it. No. It's only a dinner. It's only this. It's so childish and blind. No, it's not. And does not man have a right to say no? My goodness. That's a God in its own mind. Everyone needs to say yes because I'm the woman, God woman, seductress? Whoever says no, they're wicked now. Can you see this? Can anyone see this? This is insane. For doing something right, good, simple. No, and having, what is this? Now you become wicked and evil and have done mighty wickedness because you didn't get seduced, because a good work was done, because you love. Because seducing someone is murderous hatred. Not being seduced by someone is good and love, not the sin. So when they see something good, not being seduced with the heart, that's murderous hatred. You're wicked because it's only exposing their wickedness. You don't even have to try. The light just exposes darkness. It is what it is. The Father's light exposes darkness in someone. Be lights, shining lights. Don't hide it under a bushel to be seen by people through the right way. There'll be murderous envy and hatred just for doing something, good works that come from above. It's amazing. This is everyone. This is all of Eve. She's only been controlling people. in her mind and heart with intentions to do so. And there's many different ways that we need to learn to see it, of viewing this spiritual sin of being a god in its own mind, a goddess. Many different tricks and ways. And it's one of them, the big one is right in Genesis, is handing over a gift, a bribe, a gift. It's like one and the same thing, but a little different, but it's connected. Bribe, gift. That's how you seduce and put someone in debt, slavery, control them, by actually doing something that looks good. How does mankind know how to do perfect evil while making it look good on the outside constantly? How does he know how to do that so perfectly? It's amazing, because of Satan. Because the heart is extraordinarily deceitful. It just obeys Satan constantly. That's it. Literally, right this minute, is listening to the devil every second it breathes. It says, yes, Father. Yes, Father. So now it's a war against the flesh and against the enemy. To say, yes, Father, from the heavenly Father, Yahuwah, the Creator, and not the enemy, the devil. Now it's a war. There is no spiritual war unless someone has the Father's Spirit. They can talk about it. They can make religions. There is no such war without his Spirit. It doesn't exist. They only just listen to the Father's works continually. The devil, their father's works. There's no war. There's no battle. There's no fighting. There's no struggle. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. Right in Genesis, the father of lights for sin here, with a grand plan, the good news message for all. He puts enmity there. Who can take away what he did? This enmity is real, and when someone's acting with their heart, works with a heart, as if the enmity doesn't exist, that's going against something that's absolutely always true. We know it's a liar and a deceiver now. This enmity is real. Mankind will make it look like he likes somebody, but he can't fake real. The murder is in the heart towards his people. Anyone that doesn't know the Father, the murder's already in the heart. The enmity is already there. This is why this is true. If someone doesn't hate mother, brother, father, sister, relatives, and even your own life, soul, you have no part of Messiah. You can't be his disciple, no part of following the Lamb or a believer, because the enmity right there from Genesis is real. And if we do works of heart that's like against it, showing we don't believe in it, this is not good. This is proving something. But we don't. How do you do this perfectly and not hate them with carnal hatred? Well, I've had these questions. He starts giving. How do you have a perfect hatred for mother, even your own life? You don't have this hatred like we read Messiah saying. We have nothing to do with Messiah. We have nothing to do with following the Lamb. Nothing to do with being his people. How do we do that and not murder people with our heart, break his law? Because his law is a guide, and always agreeing with it is never wrong. It only showing what sin is. So someone that is directly teaching to break his law, I mean, it's a false doctrine already. How do we do this while not murdering the enemy, while hating him at the same time? Sounds impossible, because it is to the carnal man. It sounds contradicting, because it is to someone without the understanding. It's not. There is a way. It's the exact thing he needs to do. There's a way. And this needs to be perfected. It's not like, aha, day one, I do it. And it gets deeper and deeper. It gets better and better. You see something in the beginning, and then it grows. You see it better, some way you didn't see it before. See something different, deeper about it, so that you can do it better for every other sin, just like that, to do it better. Be perfect. On the way to be perfect. What How come they stay away from so many scriptures, so many of Messiah's words, even literally? I, I don't believe I've ever heard growing up in church at any point that I can remember. I'm not saying they never read it. It's, they'll come across it sometimes, but it's like they purposely stay away if they can, because it's naturally, literally violating some of their doctrine that they have, like immediately. Because, we can't ever look bad. Looking bad is not good. That's evil. And it says we got to hate everyone and even our own soul, or else nothing to do with Messiah. Then other people can read, love your enemies. This will make us look bad and contradicting. We'll just stay away from it. That's scary. Don't they know we don't learn everything in one day? They need to know everything and they know nothing. Why? Because of Genesis, not because of the Father's truth in Genesis. Satan said, you shall be like God, Elohim, knowing good and evil. They already know everything in the heart. In the heart, not with words or flesh. They already have to know everything. We are here to answer your questions, and whoever donates the most, your questions will be prioritized. People who are talking about his commandments are doing this. They masquerade even heavier than the church world because they at least speak about something about his commandments. Hey, prioritizing someone that pays you more. What is that, God or something? Someone pays more, you answer their questions and prioritize them. It's enjoying being a king and a God. It has nothing to do with doing the Father's will. If someone is actually of the Father, they'll be hated by all men for his name's sake. And the Father gives us power not to have a fearful, cowardly thing against him. That needs to grow. It's just sitting there, like, wanting to be God and answer. And I've been deceived by it badly for like a year or something, where there was little signs here and there, utterly taking because of knowledge, because somebody's knowledge seemed like, man, I can't believe it. Someone's like understanding the same things, saying the same things, important things. And then what it was wanting to build after all, in the end, was a system that grows where you just answer people's questions just like everyone else is doing. And very, very control spirit. Watch out for it. That's not of the Father. Control spirit. Demanding, snooping, getting inside someone. What are you doing every 5 minutes? And deceived, utterly tricked. Just like the disciples, man. Like, oh man, I did what I read, and it makes me sad because I did bad, evil, deceived, and I couldn't do anything about it. Then you read, then it comes alive. When the Father gives someone something, it comes alive. Not when man says something, oh God, it comes alive this day for you. Then you read, you start seeing a spiritual thing of pride and carnality, that it's God. I will never betray you. I will never do any such thing. All the way to the death, I'll fight for you. Yeah, man always wants to shed blood. And I'm not. It's just the disciples didn't even receive the Spirit. We'll see these things that are written down for us. It'll happen in our life at some point. Someone is a Messiah. See, wow. Wait a second. Did I betray Messiah before, in the heart? Did I do something? Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Because and does the heart go, I'll never do that? Oh yeah, it does. What does the Father do because of this pride, rebellion, being God in its mind, saying, because what I say, it will stand. It's coming, baby. It's coming. Because you say this, it's going to happen. You say there's no sword, no famine. There is no destruction in the church world. You say there's peace in this place, Jeremiah. Because you say there's no sword and famine, By sword and famine, you shall be consumed. You know, I mean, it's like I would like to scream this out. Like, you know, just like stunning what we don't know, what didn't know. You know, this is rebellion because we say something that we do ourselves. Oh, he'll make sure we don't overcome it. Oh, yes, yes, yes. It needs to only go his way and submit to the Creator. And then he'll do the good thing that maybe sort of looks like someone wants but doesn't understand it, you know. It's only actually going his way, which is contradicting always to man. Then you would get the actual good thing from it. You know, that's how it goes with everything. Just learning a little here, a little there. You can't, but see how evil it is to command someone. Oh, you know, someone else in Messiah is saying, I'm going to do this 2 weeks from now, and I'm going to do this for this long. And the understanding isn't there yet for them. And then you command it with a condemning carnal hatred, as if we're better, as if we didn't do whatever that is. If we haven't done it any time. That's evil because it can only destroy people spiritually. It can never help them. It will look most of the times like it's helping them. That's the deception, but it can't actually help them. So then, you know, someone might be speaking of something that someone else hasn't gone up to yet, or that's already old news, not like in a bad way, but in a good way. Already seen. Because of hypocrisy that all in me for doing something. Still, he's not a monster. He gently guides a manster. The devil commending and controlling, not gently, but out of fear, cowardly fear and insecurities. It rages, and it's actually no good. When we start seeing this, I mean, it becomes more and more pathetic. But you know, that's the only way it must be starting to see. Then you'll be tempted. Once again, you start something's pathetic, you might be tempted to do in the heart. Start boasting. I mean, his way is perfect. No way it can be kept on our own. It is true that his people will be given things the world cannot see or know. Isn't that going to tempt them to be prideful? Yes, it will. They need to overcome that for real. It's a big thing to overcome constantly. There is a way. The Father actually starts changing the heart for real, so your heart actually does the right thing without thinking about it. That's the miracle. Not in one day, perfect, but you know, where before the heart already knew what to do for evil. It just already did evil. It's because that exists, well, the good thing exists. It's 180. Lust in the heart and mind. For man, one of his biggest weaknesses, adultery in the heart, seductive power over man with women. This literally goes away. This is good news if anyone's struggling. Because the only way to overcome something is through a struggle. But there's good news. The heart actually changes for real. And it doesn't happen in one day. You want to see it quicker, and only the Father's timing. You just keep going. But he'll get it. He'll get there with this or that. And here's the thing. Women of this world, not of the Father, they will perceive this overcoming thing, this good thing. They will start seeing it, and they will hate you murderously with a vicious heart, wanting to destroy you because they can't seduce you. And I'm only saying cannot out of
It's just not out of pride, but understanding that the only way to start overcoming this is denial of self. It's not out of pride, but it sounds prideful on the surface to this world. It sounds prideful. Because that's what man's always doing and thinking, oh, nobody can touch me, I'm God. The only way is denial, acknowledging, and then he heals whatever sin it is, starts healing, showing, growing. Tree grows, instead of being burned up with fire, it needs to be pruned. And we read that. So it grows more, better, keeps it alive and healthy, produce more fruit. He prunes it, which is what? A little cutting off, so it grows better, so it stays healthy. How come that's true in nature, his creation? Because it's screaming out truth, that's why. It's just a matter of being given something to see. And he will do this correcting with all in due time. So there's a difference now. There's a narrow way and a wide gate, and the wide gate is just an blinding destruction constantly, no overcoming sin and death at all. Narrow way is destroying the old man. So you start destroying what lust. That's good, because then it stops doing it the same way, and you keep going. To finally pluck out the eyes completely, that will represent and literally mean the old man, which is evil works, lust, always doesn't lust anymore, because that's been cut off and something new is given. It's crazy. The change, the power. It's crazy because of the power. Real. Man cannot in his heart. Pretends everything constantly. They can't fake real. They can't say, I'm having a problem with sin or whatever. And then because I said I don't have a problem anymore, it's gone. The very opposite is going to be true. They'll act worse and worse with it always existing. Then they have to mask it according to their word. Yes, because Herod is too prideful to have a little mercy on John. According to his word, half of the kingdom, and the woman wants his head on a platter instead of half of the kingdom. He'd rather destroy someone's head because maybe John said something or passed by or whatever happened. Some vicious, murderous hatred the godless woman has there. And Herod is sad because why? He's too prideful. It's a wicked work he did. He didn't even have like a desire to literally do that and kill him at the time. And yet he did it anyways because of his stupid word. When it comes with evil, they always do their word. When it comes for good, never doing it. He kept his word for evil. I thought, the Creator loves mercy over sacrifice. Or however we read it there, the meaning there is showing something about who he is. He kept his word just for himself, selfish and pride and a God, Ooh, I can't have my image thrown down. I said it's my word, damn it. We need to watch out for the image, the old name, the image of the beast, protecting always. What needs to be destroyed is being protected by man. All right, I got to go for real. Peace. Take care. Seek truth from above.